So, welcome to middle school conversation. I was a previous middle school teacher. My name is Chauntée. I work for STEM Education Works. I'm the learning and development specialist. I have a very sweet spot in my heart for middle school because I feel that oftentimes we overlook middle school because it's very like the middle. It's like the middle child. And I was the middle child, am a middle child. So I know that feeling of just being like, how come no one's noticing me? And we're doing so much of the hard work. So I'm really excited to talk about it and hopefully give you some options of some things that are available out there for y'all. So first and foremost, who is our company and what are we about? Our process is designed to inspire and empower students and you as the teachers and or the schools to hopefully get into the world of STEM. Of course, like anything else, hands-on is obviously the best thing we can possibly offer. And then also giving the children and yourselves a chance to just really explore curiosity. And so that's what hopefully these things are going to do for you. Here we go. All right. Any of our curriculum and all of our curriculum, no matter what you buy from us or get from us, these are the core standards that we cover in it. We are working, and by we, I mean me, I am working some on trying to separate it into states because hopefully eventually I'll be able to, if you say I'm from Kansas or I'm from Indiana or wherever, you'll be able to say, I'll be able to send you the standards specifically for your state. But at the time, this is kind of what we're working with, which again, I know a lot of people are incorporating in GSS. Common Core is within every standard set, no matter where you live, just maybe arranged differently or has a different acronym because, you know, education and acronyms are also just the thing for us for whatever reason. Our model for lessons is designed around the engineering design process, and we also use the 5E model. So I like to point that out, depending on what you're looking for. If there's something in particular you were hoping for, this is kind of the standard for how it's run. Now, personally, I'm a massive fan of the engineering design process. I used it within my own classroom all the time because it really helped me stay on pace as the educator. But some people prefer the 5E model. It's really about preference, in all honesty. Anyways, so we're going to dive into what we offer as a company for you guys. First off, yes, I will be sharing the slides with you guys. Absolutely. First off, we're going to talk about Build Smart Clubhouse. And this is a middle school curriculum that we wrote specifically for middle schoolers. It is put together to take students through this opportunity of learning about how designing and building automated clubhouses, so smart homes. The students get a chance to really explore scale and how model works within a clubhouse type model of a house. It's basically computer science skills. They also are using microbits and sensor technology to be able to build a thermostat, a fan, a light, and also a doorbell. The fan works where the students actually set the temperature to turn on the fan at a certain time and turn off at a certain time, depending on the heat level within the house. They also have that same concept with the lighting, where the light will turn on or turn off, depending on how dark it is. And with that, I just wanted to show you some of this is actually straight from the activities that we put together. So you'll see that real life size on that one side and then the model size. So they're learning about taking that scale and drawing out that whole blueprint and understanding how blueprints are work, and then take that and create a real life size model of their house that they're building. They're going to actually be able to, we give you all the pieces that go with it. So if you purchase curriculum from us, we also give you the slides, the handouts for the students, the lesson plans for the teachers, and any types of materials that you will need to build this. So for this one, you'll get all the wood pieces for your students to use. The students will actually create this. Yes, there's super glue involved. Yes, there's gloves in there because we all know, I mean, I'm a full-grown adult and I still somehow get my hands covered in super glue and stick to something. It's a whole almost pulling your skin off thing. So we do include gloves in there and some materials to help loosen that up if it does happen. But the only thing that's not reusable is the wood pieces. We make sure that the sensors are mounted with Velcro so the students can take it off and then you could use it for the next group of kids. So you're not having to rebuy sensors every single time, because it can get pretty expensive if you have to do it that way. So we've tried to make it so they don't actually glue the sensor to the clubhouse. I'm going to go back one just so you can see that clubhouse again. So you can see a small model of that, what it looks like. And as you can tell, it is just a base model of that, but it gives the students opportunity to construct it, and then from there learn about circuitry, and they really get to know what it looks like to nest their different sensors, which is really nice for teaching the concept of how important location is on the houses that they're building or whatever they're creating. So it gives them that opportunity. This is a sample of what the doorbell concept is, because that's the very first one they learn. So they're learning it with make code or microbit. Someone have a question? Sorry.
Sorry,
No.
I was not on mute. I'm muting myself.
It's okay. 2020, didn't actually set us up as good as we would hope. So this is just a start of what it looks like for the students to put together that customizing a doorbell. You can tell it's pretty basic model of coding. It is used with microbit, so make code. It does allow opportunity for JavaScript and also for Python. So if you have students that are already script coding, that gives you that opportunity to take that to that level. Awesome. Welcome, everybody who's making comments in that. I am trying to check them occasionally, so I'm not completely ignoring people. Before I go on, are there questions about this concept? I know it's very quick. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too long on stuff unless you have specific questions. But again, all the resources, all of the slides, the lesson plans, everything that you need as an educator to teach this lesson is put together for you. I'm going to pretend you don't, but if you do, you can just yell it out or in the chat. The next thing I just want to show is our code drone, which is made by RoboLink. So if you've ever heard of RoboLink, they are actually able to be used in the competitions that are done for drones for middle schoolers. It is pretty amazing how flexible this is. If you've never used one of these before, it's crazy. But I've crashed it into walls multiple times. Not that I'm recommending it, but I have crashed it into walls, and for some reason it's still functioning no problem. So I feel like, that gives me a little more hope in the flexibility of the robot. There's color sensing. There's all kinds of opportunity for the students to script code and or block code. And these are made specifically for the classroom. And a lot of concerns, of course, are about regulations. These are made for being indoors. They are made to be in your classroom. So they're not flying super high. They're really set to be something that you can use on a day-to-day basis without too much stress. They have their own lesson plans they've created for it. I'm just giving you just a quick little overview of what that looks like. They'll have a lesson plan that you can download that's on Google. That's all laid out for you. It tells you the material, the learning objectives, guiding questions, and a summary of each lesson. It tells you what grade level it is, and then what level also coding level it is. So if it's something that has variables, it's going to point that out. So if you haven't taught variables before, you'll know that you're going to get into something that might not be something that the kids are ready for, or it might be something that you're ready to introduce. But they really try to show you that process. As you can see on the screen, I made sure that you could see that it's downloadable for free. They have all kinds of lesson plans. They have all the get started lessons as well that go with them. So if you purchase a code drone, you'll get all of that stuff for free to use at your leisure. There are remote controls that come with them. And it literally can be a remote control, like a car remote control, but it also, for specific locations and things like that, the code is going to be needed. So it really does push those kids to not just want to be using the remote control, which we all know is just the base understanding, but they do have that opportunity if they have to fly it back or whatever reason that you need to use it, it is there for you. It's all an online platform, so you don't have to download anything, which is also really awesome because we all know there's so many restrictions for what you can download to the computers. But that's CodeDrone. That is, again, something that I've been really digging into because I really want to understand how to incorporate drones into the classroom, specifically for middle school students, because as they transition into high school, I want them to have as many experiences as they can before they have to get forced into picking a pathway or try to decide more specific opportunities for themselves. Questions about this? I know I'm going fast, and you can tell me to slow down if you have anything. Questions for me? Anything? Silence is good, I guess. I'm not doing good teacher wait time, guys. Sorry. All right, microbit, which hopefully you've heard of. If you haven't, it is literally like a Raspberry Pi and or a Arduino. It's just a more base model. I think it's the best way to start with students when it comes to coding because they have a virtual version and you can also have the one in hand. It lends itself to big growth within the sensors that you can purchase to go with it. There's sensors for moisture levels and sensors for light sensors and temperature and dust and lots of everything that you could possibly imagine that you would want to use as a sensor in the classroom for teaching any type of concepts. They have them for purchase, but this itself comes with sensors already on it. This is like a $30 technology. It's very inexpensive and it's pretty easy to use for teaching coding. These lessons that we've created for this in particular do use the 5E lesson plan format, but this is one of my favorite curriculums that we have because first off, it does give you a pacing guide for opportunity to spread it between the different grades so that if a kid is in 6th grade and comes to 7th grade at your school, they're not repeating stuff throughout their time in their middle school. This is all the different standards that are covered with this. Yay, I'm so glad. See, a lot of people are really into microbit. So there was a comment saying they use it for their 6th grade intro, and it is great intro. Just like I was saying a little bit earlier, it gives you that opportunity to build code in block code and then have it translate over to script code so students can actually see what does that look like if I were to type it in Python or JavaScript. It really does open that door to them. For this, it gives you these the different lessons that are within the curriculum. And this is what my favorite thing is to talk about is the design brief that we include in there. So it's a student forward activity sheet that goes with what they're learning. It really gives them the narrative of, okay, what am I being asked to do? So it's very much engineering design process. The students have that in front of them where it's like, hey, this is what the purpose is behind what I'm doing. So what are you asking me to do? It walks them through exactly what is being asked of them. It gives them criteria and constraints for them to just take ownership of their learning. And it really dives into teaching them all the different concepts of coding. $20. Okay, $20 is what Brian is saying. Amazing. Sorry, I am checking that because I don't want to overlook if there's a question. Okay, so that's just an overview again of the microbit one. And of course, any of these things, if you want samples sent to you or you can really dive into them, I will send you free samples of any of this that you're seeing. I just want to at least give you an opportunity to see what we have. Just if you're starting to look or you're hoping for ideas, hopefully this is giving you even just a little inch of inspiration. All right. Any questions for me about microbit lessons? Again, this is brand new, about to get released from us. So if you do want just like a little sample of that, where we'll show you kind of what the slides look like a little more in depth. And again, I have it all open in the background. So if you stay on and you want to look more in depth about one thing, please do. I just want to make sure I cover everything for the people who just want an overview. So hang tight if you're like, you're not giving me enough. I promise I have it ready for those who really want to know more. All right, so MakerBot is what we use for 3D printing, but if you already have 3D printers at your school, we have middle school 3D printing curriculum that you can use for any 3D printer. Our company uses MakerBot, but again, it can be used anywhere. Really, this whole entire curriculum for this 3D printing is taking the kids through the understanding of the engineering design process. There's some life science and some physical science that's also incorporated into it. Lots of cross-disciplinary experiences and all kinds of opportunities for remediation. We've added that on for our middle school and extension. and also SEL is all incorporated into that. And regardless of what curriculum you purchase from us, we always cover careers with every lesson, cultural connections with every lesson, so that students can really see, oh, how is this applied to the world around us? What does this mean to my future? So hopefully they'll have a little more connection each time they learn something new. So for this one, again, we really tried to break up some options for you as to how to lay that out so that the students will each have a chance to explore. And then, of course, all those standards, they're all aligned for you there. This is just a little sample of some of the slides that we have put together for you for this lesson. And again, all of them have it. So I was trying to give you at least a little variety of each thing. So the student forward slides are put together so that the students are learning about the concepts behind what they're learning and kind of keeping everybody in check and in the flowing how it should be. The design brief, again, every single lesson has design briefs. We really try to make sure that each section, and if you go back to the previous design brief, you'll see the ask little section right there, the little button thing. It has the 5 E's, but it also has the engineering design process. And we made sure to put that there so you know what section you're at, or the teachers do. So as they're starting to incorporate the engineering design process into their lessons, it's giving them that already to start thinking, oh, this is where this falls. Question? I just have high hopes that somebody's gonna be like, so I have a question. I'm gonna check the chat though. Awesome. Thanks for sharing resources, guys. It's always very helpful, I know. All right. If you have a question, go for it. Okay, we're just going to pretend you don't. All right, so DBot, if you haven't heard of that, this is a robotic arm. It comes with different end effectors for students to explore with. There's a 3D printing one, a laser engraver, a writing and drawing one. There's a claw or a gripper. I just call it claw because it just reminds me of the Toy Story thing. And then also a suction cup. So students get to dive into what that looks like within manufacturing, electronics. They get to do computer science through that. We don't specifically have a middle school curriculum for DBOT, but we have a high school one, but it literally takes the students through block coding into script coding. So it could lend itself also to elementary. If you have kids who are ready to get into script coding, it walks them through that and is applying the manufacturing concepts throughout it. So they really learn about how manufacturing uses this type of technology. Okay, check in the chat just to make sure. Awesome. Cool. Questions about this from anybody? Check in the chat. Awesome. Yay. All right. Horizon Educational. This one, I learned a lot from as I've started to study what's available through them, but we partner with them and help them with curriculum. Our curriculum writer, one of our curriculum writers is really involved in helping with their curriculum. So there's a couple of opportunities in this. First and foremost, this is all about greenhouse gases and all about hydrogen production. So how do they use hydrogen? This fuel cell that you see here, the students actually take through electrolysis and learn how to fuel a car using this fuel cell. And it's extremely exciting and fun to do. And you get to actually see the separation of H2O as the little syringes that you see on these cars fill up with hydrogen and oxygen. So you're separating it out. It's very exciting. I mean, for me it was, and I geek out a lot with that. But it lends itself for students to create their own type of vehicle to be fueled by it. But we also have a curriculum where you can use already put together files that we have if you're trying to teach the concept and not dig too far into that. And then it gives opportunity for students to build their own thing at the end, if that's where you want to head with it. They have lots and lots of different types of stuff, different types of energy technologies that they use. This one is a wind science energy kit that is like literally teaches students how to read wind energy. It really takes them through the mathematical part of it. So they're understanding that whole process with wind energy. And then this is the fuel cell a little up close, but you can see how it walks them through this process of what's the rate of hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis. So the students
So don't worry.
get an opportunity to really get to know.
And I can always get the recording of this too. So this is different than the one earlier. I was on that one too.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know they didn't know they weren't muted. And that's all right. Okay. Okay. I got thrown for a second. And so the students have that opportunity to collect data as they go through it. And then this is the Build Smart EV microcart flash. This is where the students are building code and creating their own electric go-karts. So if you've heard of them, EV microcart activity, this is a smaller version of that to give it opportunity for the middle school students to get to explore with this. We have a high school course as well that's a lot more in depth, but this is just understanding how to wire with breadboards and then also to be able to code using that. This is just a little overview of what that looks like. So they're learning about electric vehicle research and getting to research what electric cars are like, getting those skills that they need for real life occupations through EV microcart. So it's a middle or high school course, depending on the grade level you're working with. It really goes in detail about physics and science behind electric go-karts. So they'll learn about steering and braking mechanics, and they'll get to do some prototypes and also print their own if you have a 3D printer. If not, that's what those recycled pieces are for. So students can actually just create their own using recyclable material. Again, I know that this is real fast. Sorry, just hang with. This one I saved the best for last in my personal opinion, and this is KaiSclan, and it's a collaborative coding platform. It immerses students in robotics, AR, VR, IoT, AI, and it's very, very collaborative. It really opens the door to all kinds of stuff. I can't even get into detail everything that it does, but I'm going to show you just a few pictures. Basically what happens is that there's a map that's on the ground that has QR codes all around the map. A electronic device is sending those QR codes to your classroom as a teacher, and it's bringing to life the map in front of the students who are working on their code. So you can see in the bottom picture there, it's showing Mars. They can go into Tinkercad and design their own design for what they want their robot to look like, and they can bring it over and it'll come to life on the screen. Again, very collaborative, gives a lot of opportunity for all kinds of learning through code. It also allows for script coding. There's a lot of sensors that come with it that the students can use, kind of like a microbit, but they get to open up the lid of the robot and connect stuff to it. There are tons and tons of lessons that they've already made for you for this. That's already put there that the teacher can just launch, and it goes to all of the students. So it's a really cool resource, whether you're just getting started or you're wanting to bring to life VR in your classroom. It does work with Oculus, and also, I guess Oculus is MetaQuest. I don't own one, but I've been exploring with them. So that's also available for you. And that's the very quickest I could go to give you an overview of some opportunities that we have in the middle school. Now, that's our email at the bottom. And by our email, I mean mine and one of my coworker who also works alongside of me. If you want specific help with stuff, if you want us to send you sample lessons, if you want to just pick our brains, please do so.